you want, but if the person or an applicant comes in and they meet the current ordinance, it's not the applicant's fault, it's not the planning board's fault. They're just going over all the ordinances, and if they meet, or they feel that they meet the criteria on that checklist, then we have to say yes.
I
Just so you know.
respectfully disagree with.
You can disagree, that's fine, I'm just letting you know that that's how it works. If you don't like the way our ordinances are worded, change them. The way you change them is you come to planning board meetings and you come up with ideas on how to reword things in the planning board, or become a member of the planning board, and you discuss it and it gets put onto the ballot. There's gonna be 5 or 6 of them on the ballot in March.
No, I think the ordinance, the way that water resource ordinance is written, spot on. It just wasn't followed, sir. That's all, that's what
Well,
I'm
we didn't get there yet. I'm working my way from the bottom of the page up. Alright, so we're in this paragraph here, so I said, convert the land to a subdivision. Well, a subdivision was the act of creating the lots. Those 5 lots now are legal fact, they exist, okay?
Yep.
He can mix and match them, trade them with his friends, whatever he wants to do. They can. To clear cut their land, so I'm taking it to convert it to a clear cutting their land is a separate thing from creating a subdivision. He could have clear cut the land, if that's what we feel he did, with or without the subdivision. He owned the land.
Okay.
By the same token, he could have done the subdivision and not cut anything. They're kind of unrelated in that sense. So specific to the cutting, which I went up there and I could certainly see if I lived at the end of Memorial Drive, why I'd wake up in the morning and go, well, that's different. However, I'm going to refer you to RSA 79:10, and you can look that up. I'm sure you will. I have it on my phone. The rule is that if he cuts under 15,000 board feet of lumber, he does not have to file an intent to cut. And I'm not a person who can tell you 15,000, 5,000, or 2,000. But his logger, who he hired, has said that they have approximately 5,000 board feet and 15 cords of wood. And he's chipped to.
Did he say who his logger is or no?
He did not.
GTL was on the side of the truck.
Oh, that's probably what it is on. Wherever they are. So they believe that they are well underneath the statutory requirements to file an intent to cut. And we get intent to cuts in here almost every meeting.
We got
So
one
we're
right
no
now.
strangers
I
to
saw
this.
this on the.
And we also have people that are doing it without.
Well, we do.
But
This is Troy and it is
the guy
New
from,
Hampshire.
the guy who oversees the timber division of the Department of Revenue Administration, frequently comes to town when we ask him, and he said he'll swing in next week and determine.
Yeah, but I would tell you that the amount of land cleared there is probably not much more, it's probably about an acre is what he's cleared. And I can see where he's cut he's not clear cut, but he's cleared 2 strips up to South Main Street. I think it was 2, maybe it was 3. I thought he had 3 lots up there, I saw 2.
You mean to South Street?
I'm sorry,
No, to South Main Street.
South Main.
Three on South Main Drive.
Because I
Yeah.
could see all of South Street.
I couldn't see from, well, when I went up I went up Memorial Drive, turned around on his property, and then went back down around, I went up South Main Street, like right across from Long Meadow. And there's 2 trails, whatever, I assume they're where he's gonna put houses in the woods there. I recall 2, there may have been 3, I didn't see the 3rd one, I didn't recall it, but, and they're not as fully cleared out as down by the end of Memorial Drive.
Very quick question. So, is that per lot, 15,000 foot boards per lot, or per?
Total.
Total, so all 5,
But he hasn't cleared that much, Curtis.
right. Well, I'm just wondering if he started logging beforehand, it's all on one lot, with all the lots being cleared out and everything, that would be over, but now that it's subdivided, individual lots.
So he says he's under 15,000 any way you figure it.
Okay.
So if you figure it as one lot, he's
Yeah.
under it. If you figure it as 15,000 per lot, then he could do 75,000.
Right, okay.
But he doesn't have anything near that.
And DRA is coming up anyway, so.
The DRA's gonna come. So, in specific response to that, we've called the DRA, they're gonna come and take a look at it and give us their 10 cents worth, but if you wanna look up the governing RSA, it's 79:10.
No, we did call Forest Ranger too.
I don't think they're the people who look at it, but that's good.
Well, they said they would.
Oh, okay.
They usually pass it on to the DRA.
They pass it on to the DRA. So, we're gonna, for
Okay,
purpose,
so it sounds like there might not be extra permits because he doesn't need the incentive.
that's correct.
Because
We don't think based on what he's said, he doesn't need one. And so we're verifying that.
that makes sense. I appreciate that.
So,
Yeah, so then the rest of it, there wouldn't be
Uh,
a cease and desist needed if he's not.
if he's over it, then he needs to fill out paperwork, and if he isn't, then he doesn't.
That is good.
If he starts building, then we have another issue.
Well, he hasn't done that.
Right.
As to a brush fire, we could look at the fire logs on that, and I would say whatever, I don't know that they normally issue fines. And I'm not sure what their threshold is, but we can follow up with the fire department and see how they classified it, and if that's something, I think that's within our purview to ask them.
Okay.
We
Thank
can
you.
ask Mark.
So then we get into the whole thing about the Conservation Commission, the Water Resources Protection District ordinance was handled correctly or not. And obviously, from a training, technology, and skill perspective, nobody on this board has that capacity to say, yeah, no, that was done right or not. So those things, I think, we should refer to our attorney and review the process that was taken. Because obviously we have the owners of the property who, they think they did it right, the planning board thinks they did it right, you don't think they did it right, and you're asking us to figure out, is it right or not? And without really going to court, the next step for us is to turn it over to the town's attorney. And you may not like his answer, or he may not like his answer, but we gotta start someplace.
And is that Joe?
Yeah.
That's true. You have, there's also 30 days from the process of this approval. You can also submit a request to the ZBA to look at it as well.
To EPA?
The ZBA,
ZBA.
Zoning Board of Adjustment.
Adjustment, yeah.
So if you don't like the decision of a certain board, like the Selectmen or the planning board, you can go to the ZBA, but you have a time frame that you have to do it. So the clock starts ticking as of yesterday.
You're right, you got a 30-day meter that started.
Is
So-
there a form that we fill out?
Yes, there is. It is online on our website, as well as
Yeah.
we sometimes have copies laying around.
Go to the town website under forms, it should be there.
It's there. Yeah, I know it's there because
Yeah.
I see plenty of them.
Yeah. And so that you also, those are the steps that we can take. Basically, we're gonna send it to
Yeah,
Joe.
if you scroll to the bottom of the forms, it says ZBA, and it'll bring you to a link, and it's got everything right there.
There's also, for you to know, there also is a planning board representative that sits on the ZBA as well, that is also a voting member.
Yes.
And a selectman. TJ is the selectman, and I think Matt Meacham is
It's
the.
the current one. Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. I wondered why it was there.
But also, with everything happening with the, voting next month, you could have a whole new different board, just so you know.
And they could
So-
all change.
Yeah.
You got two completely different boards with two completely different perspectives on things.
And then when whoever gets voted in.
Or you could have the exact same people,
Right.
Yeah.
which more commonly than not in Troy, it's the exact same. There's basically about 22 people in Troy that fill, I counted, there's actually potential for up to 200 different seats, which is 10% of the population of the town.
Wow.
Now, some of you are staying, you're not getting COVID.
You lose.
Yeah.
So for a selectman, it's every 3 years, we're up, so,
Yes.
Dick, you were last year?
No,
And then-
Curtis was.
No, you.
That's you.
So you got like last year.
You got to be the
Time flies
guinea
real
pig with
Well, it
that.
means I have 2 more
That
years.
means you have
You ran,
two.
you ran out of posts, nobody wanna challenge?
So Curtis has 1 more year, and this year is my year up, and I do have someone running against me, so I.
So
You only have 1 year,
But
Curtis?
different boards have
Every
different
year left.
terms.
Yeah.
That'd be 9 years
Makes
total.
sense to me. Yeah,
So-
and I've seen that when I've looked at who's on the different boards to figure out.
So if you see multiple people on different boards and everything, so.
Or the same person on multiple boards.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Right,
So
like-
if, there is laws out there that certain people, you cannot be on certain positions. And
Right.
So that all has been vetted, by the way, just through the town clerk's office. So if there is a conflict of interest or whatnot, they either have to step down or.
Yeah, there's a manual that comes from the Secretary of State's office, it's called conflict, and it's a section called conflicting positions. So when my son ran for moderator and won, he was on the trustee of trust funds, and he really liked that. And he had to resign trustee of trust funds to be a moderator.
That makes sense.
It's actually what he did is he switched with Alan. Alan had been the moderator, so they.
And like when I first moved to town, I was on the budget committee, and then I originally signed up to go back on the budget committee, and then I was pressured into signing up for being a selectman by somebody's son.
Oh,
No accountants for that.
But
You have
I
enough
had
packets?
removed myself from the other one.
gotcha. Yeah, and I had seen on the planning board that you were the selectman representative, so that made sense to me with like.
So when you do go to see Attorney Hoppick, if at all possible, if you're able to find it, the original plan that was
The plan
shot
was
down.
rejected in 2006.
Yes, sir. If that could have, if that
I
could
wouldn't
be.
call that the original plan.
No, okay,
But
well,
just
we're
the-
saying just because,
Is the one you're most familiar with.
yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
So if that could please, be included with whatever you give to Joe.
Yeah, we're not, it's gonna be done by, just to be clear, because you said go see him.
Oh, no, that's
I'm
right.
sure you know
guys just
better than
email.
that, but-
Yes, no, you need to
It'll make
email.
small.
Yeah, I forget.
So,
It'll be done right.
so the original, the site plan was referenced at the meeting, but nobody actually had it? Is that correct?
The
No,
older one,
the
The one
old,
from
it was a
2006.
2006
It was
application
referenced,
for a
but it
similar.
wasn't actually there.
no.
No, but it
No,
was
because it didn't
referenced.
pertain
No.
to this.
So it's the same area.
Oh, look.
Not
I couldn't find it.
even slightly close. It was Lars Traffy, who owns Hutter Construction, bought the lots,
Okay, the planning board.
and he was gonna do
There's a lot more.
a 5 or 6 lot subdivision there. But he wanted to put them on South Street and on South Main Street.
So they
Just
like
a
pulled the
conventional
property file out of our
subdivision.
records instead.
And I don't,
And go
they,
there, it's
it
all-
got shot down because of the wetlands or something.
Okay, that makes
I never
sense.
thought about it after that. Alright,
I
So-
appreciate you answering my questions.
well, I think that takes us all of the relevant parts where you really have questions in your letter.
Yes.
Is there anything that I didn't address here, we didn't go through?
That was all the questions in my letter,
Yeah,
which is helpful, I appreciate it.
alright. Anything else you want us to?
For, that doesn't pertain to that specific issue?
You can talk, it's public
Anything
comments,
you want,
you
it's public
can,
comment right now.
I mean, we don't have the authority to declare war on Red China, but if you want to talk about it.
That's probably coming too.
Let's go look at it.
Go after 1, 2, 3 Happy Street
Small,
first.
look Canada.
Let's get that one.
You know,
Different words, please.
yeah,
So my only question, we had, is it Avatar? Is that who does
your
our?
assessor,
Yes.
you were the assessor.
So, they came, reassessed us
Yep.
and said they were gonna submit something to
They
the
did.
town, but we haven't received anything.
Oh, well, didn't we act on that at the last meeting?
Yeah, it's approved.
It was approved, we reduced
You'll
your
be getting,
assessment.
you'll be getting something eventually.
I think you're on tonight's agenda, I'm not sure, what, you know what your lot number is?
No, we did that last meeting.
No, we did, there'd be an abatement, there's an abatement, we'll have to come on with code was.
We're in map 13, but I don't know what number.
Yeah, that's, she came out and looked at your property, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're the ones that
Came and
didn't have the
visited.
finished
So
basement.
it was approved last meeting and I sent it to her, it just needs to go from her to you guys and formalize everything.
Nothing happens nearly as fast as you would like it to.
Well, she said once a month too, so.
Well, she,
Map 13, lot 87, does that sound right?
yes, that does,
It's in our minutes,
okay,
Yeah,
so it's.
she
what was it,
just.
what did we lower it to, Curtis?
It's not, that number's not specific in here, but it's
Okay.
line number 99 on our minutes, that it was map 13.
Yeah,
lot
we
87.
definitely voted on it, cause I remember reading it,
Okay,
and you went from X to X minus something.
yeah.
I mean,
But she had said that we would hear something.
you will, when it's made its way completely through the bureaucracy here.
Well, I was just
99.
wondering.
She only has
like,
one,
anything
13
actually happened.
She only has one scheduled office
Map 13 lot
day
87.
a month.
Okay.
I mean, she obviously does some stuff in between, but
So we voted to approve the new, she recommended, we voted to accept the lower assessment. It'll now go to the tax collector, then she's gonna tell us that we have to issue an abatement. And then, like, so we have tax abatements, if you look at tonight's agenda for map 3 lot 1, map 6 lot 15. And those people, or whoever they are, whatever that is, we're gonna vote on that, and they're gonna get a check back for whatever that amount of money is. Curious like a
just move slow.
Yep. I keep all my stuff for the past 2 meetings in my bag,
abatement.
I don't. Well, it's in the car.
but I carry
So
it.
you're map 13 lot 87, and what is file? The revised assessment is 276,600. So you got $13,700 off on your assessment. That's not what your tax bill's gonna go down, but it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
'Cause she said it was gonna be lower than.
Oh, that's what it is, that's what she recommended. Then certainly can have a copy of that.
I'll wait till Jeremy sends whatever
Okay.
he sends to us. I
Yeah.
just didn't know where I stood. or what
Yeah,
we
you
stood
stood,
in.
that's where you stand, we approved it, and
Thank you.
I would say you're a solid 45 days away from getting a check. Well,
Try just in time to pay
yeah,
taxes again.
because if we've overtaxed you,
Yeah.
so on tonight's warrant, or tonight's docket, right, we have 2 abatements and 1 supplemental tax warrant, so somebody is getting it. Wait, we didn't send you, we didn't send you enough of a bill. That was
At
the,
least around that, then that's fair.
In talking about taxes too, is there anything in our rules, town rules, that say ordinances that if you have an outstanding tax bill, you can't request a building permit or
well, you can
something
always
to that effect?
request it. It's normally, it is, so you can always request a permit. If the town wanted to deny that, they could, that would be a reason for doing it. But the only place, I don't think that's specifically covered in the RSA's. But what they typically won't do is issue a demolition permit. So if you owe taxes on your house, 123 Happy Street, you come in for a demolition permit, which almost no one ever does, and because you want to tear down your garage, we can deny you the demolition permit. Typically you can add to the value, but you can't subtract from the value.
Okay.
Usually we ask that if, with every meeting, are they up with their taxes, just because even if it, it can be denied, like you said, for that reason. 9 times out of 10, I haven't, well, so far, no one's been late that I've seen, at least as long as I've been a selectman.
Yeah,
so.
it's been a while since we had somebody that was not caught up on their taxes.
But yeah, you don't want them investing in the property if they're not even paying their taxes to begin with.
Well, if they ask for a building permit, as a general rule, you're investing a lot of money into the property, why can't you pay your taxes? Kind of thing.
Well, sometimes you have to fix stuff to pay the taxes.
Right.
So if the person has has their property in a trust, but I mean their name is on that property, their home, they have a home in Troy, but their taxes are not paid, and they are going for building permits. But it's under a trust, which, hey, it's a smart thing to do,
Well, it'd
but
be a separate, So that's, then you get into what's the same entity. If the answer is, I think you have it, now you're like into complex civil law. So if I have, if TJ has 3 companies, and this is very common in real estate land, he has 114 Main Street Realty, he has 116 Main Street Realty, and 118 Main Street Realty, all 3 LLCs. They have a commonality of ownership, but they're 3 separate entities. And maybe TJ's a partner with me on one, and a partner with Curtis on the other, and a partner with you on the third one. They're 3 separate entities, and the fact that 114 pays its taxes and 116 doesn't pay its taxes, you don't get to say, aha. And the fact that on his own house, his taxes, he wants to pull a building permit on his own house, but his taxes aren't current over there, you can't say that.
So we basically base it off of the tax of the property itself, so that's why on the building permits, it's map 13 lot.
Right.
Understand.
There is an RSA that would allow, and we've gone through this with other properties in town, which were owned by, had multiple family members that owned the property, and only one lived in Troy, and the other 4 members lived in Jaffrey and Woodsville and Ringe and places like that. And so if you are the owner of record of a property, we can attach your property in Ringe. So we can reach out any place within the state of New Hampshire as a tax lien. I don't know that we've ever done that, but it is a legal option. Wolfsboro does that because, you know.
To me, it just seems common sense that if you're looking to, and I don't wanna get into too much because
Sure.
it's not, but you would think that your taxes would be paid before you request to do a build. I guess that's what I'm saying.
There's a lot of things in this life.
But I get that that doesn't hold up in this situation.
The,
Okay, anything else from you guys for tonight?
Oh, I didn't know, you had said at the beginning that you had comment, I don't know if you included that.
what?
Like you had said at the beginning that you had comment.
Oh, well, my comments were the
I
ones
don't
that
know
I
if you
gave you. I had the
included
I had
it.
the RSA 79:10 here, and I didn't want to get into, my comments were, I knew you were gonna ask this question, so here's the RSA that applies.
Okay.
Well,
I just didn't know
it's
if you had
fine,
anything
Amy.
else to add.
No, close the door.
Bye.
Bye. No, that was my only thing, was I just figured we'd get into it over here versus over there.
That makes sense.
Anyone else for the comments on this one? Everyone on this side of the room good? Well, as good as you can be.
Okay, it's my turn, right?
Alright, Mr. Scott, what do you got?
I believe Curtis has one copy. I only have 4, so. Somebody should have one copy.
Pages.
You have one, Curtis? Yeah, you
Yeah, you
have
got black ones.
Same one you submitted.
one. Yeah. So I wanna start by, when you guys read that, I wanna read something. That I put on Facebook. Trust me, this is not easy, but I think it's just the appropriate thing to do in this situation. That was the 25th Amendment page, which is the same as Facebook
What is
or
25th Amendment?
YouTube. The page started by someone to have people,
It's the one.
go there and do the, you know, see the candidates and ask them questions and things of that nature. And so I just wanted to start by saying I left this on Troy the other day and I got really good submission from it. It says, "Hi Troy, I wanna take the time to formally apologize for some things that I have said on this page to different people, and if I offended you, I'm sorry."
This is you talking?
Yes, it's really not me. I did get some news recently about needing major reconstruction surgery to my elbow. While I'm not a member of any board at this time, I need to remember that a good old saying is treat others the way you want to be treated. I hope I will soon have the blessing to be a member of our Troy CERT team and volunteer, and I should hold myself to a higher standard. I will. I hope most people will understand, and no more negative comments from me on this page will happen. God bless you, Troy friends. And when I posted this, you can see that I had basically said to Kayla Cashman, you can see Kayla Cashman, you got my vote. I have they have limited my comments. I feel so hurt. It's a little sarcastic, I admit. I feel so hurt and feel persecuted and ridiculed by the admin. I put a laugh emoji and said not. And then you can see Kim Cassidy's post, which I'm not going to read because you guys can see it's pretty, it was borderline defamation. And I think it was for someone who was on.
No one in this room has any idea what that's like, Scott.
Well, when we start talking about all the different things that have happened, I have more. Let me see, there's the part. You guys said that this is unprecedented. I've never spoke to Ben or Herb in person, only cordial conversation. This was grossly wrong, out of line, and some things need to be done about it. Something needs to be done about it. I have nothing against women, she just happens to be a woman. The 28-day temporary page, which that is seen by anyone, just like Troy. Facebook is a page, they have limited my comments because I did not agree. No big deal. What she said was negligent and this needs to stop. She's on the planning board, running for 2 other boards as we speak, the cemetery and the ZBA. I am a member of the public, and even my comments have not been this far on the line. This page is no different and gives her no right to defame me in public. This post will likely get deleted as well, and you can see it did not get through, but I got a picture of it before I posted it. And her original post was going to show up there, but it was deleted as well with the other one. And really how I feel is, at this point, I monitor all the meetings. I watch all the meetings when I'm not here. When I'm here, I'm monitoring this meeting, right? Mm-hmm. I'm keeping an eye on what's going on as the volunteer, right? So tonight we're not, because we've had a problem, viewing the stream. That being said, I noticed that last night, there was no one monitoring that planning board meeting last night. There was an abutter, this lady here, we had the conversation, that she was asking questions during that meeting about, South Street, and they were not getting answered. So I kind of feel like we should keep it. I think we should get rid of the online chat altogether.
So the reason we don't.
Well, can you let me finish?
Okay.
Okay. So this is what I think you could do. Okay, you could simply state to people, and at the beginning of every meeting, and just simply put in there that for the complicated reasons that we've had, and the different disputes that we've had, that we need people to come down here to ask legitimate questions. That anything else would just be garbage anyway. And why would you, put 1, 2, 3, 4 and read that out to the public if somebody puts that on the page, because it makes absolutely no sense, right? Just like when you say 23 Happy Street, right? It's just kind of a figure of speech, right, or a saying. I feel like it does us no good, and I don't feel like it should be up to one person to go, oh, well, it's up to that person who's holding the iPad, because it is a freedom of speech thing, okay? So if you're not gonna answer people's questions, then we shouldn't have it. We don't have to have it. And I'm sure Ben has said that there are RSAs where we can just go, let's be done with it, because I'm gonna tell you guys honestly what you heard me say and what that says. I'm done with Facebook. These people they're all blocked now on my Facebook page. I'm gonna be concentrating on getting my elbow straightened out, trying to help you guys out still, and the CERT team. That's gonna be my concentration this spring coming up, so thank you.
So there are no RSAs pertaining to this. There aren't. They're just.
All we have to do by law is post the notice that we're having a meeting in 3 places, and you can come down or not.
And keep minutes.
So the
They
biggest
keep
thing we
minutes.
do is
And
we
the
leave it
minutes
up
can
to
be
the
very big.
boards themselves and the chairperson to figure out if they wanna do it. It's like water and sewer. They don't want any of the comments, so the people can talk all they want amongst themselves within the comments, they don't get read out. Because either way, they're gonna still comment on it either after the fact or during the matter.
Well, see, they can comment on the Facebook page all they want, but why not just cut the chat out?
Because we do get some legitimate questions that
And
we
it's-
read them, this board reads it, but
And
again, it's
it's-
up to each board.
I don't
That
ever,
doesn't seem right.
as long as so I was the guy who started putting
Yeah.
these meetings on Facebook 8 years ago.
Wasn't, not to cut you off, but wasn't that originally just a audio? Not a
There
video?
was an audio before
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
And
okay,
then, and what I did was, because that was I just live streamed with my phone.
yeah,
And so, because there were all these people said, oh, you're doing all this, you're doing all that. And I said, well, this is stupid, just put it on, live stream it, and whatever happens, happens.
yeah.
We had some very colorful meetings.
Well,
But,
in terms of this group, we have no control of the Detroit group.
We have no
Yeah,
control,
they're-
but people post on it. One thing I
I
do
mean,
wanna let you
whoa.
know, one of the things we are going to discuss, not this meeting, but probably in the next session of Selectmen, cause I may not be here, it happens, is I would push forward for the town to adopt a regulations for this type of thing. Now, again, you don't allow people to talk, you live stream if people wanna say something, and it's up to the said board to read those comments. We've had comments where people are bickering back and forth in the thing, we ignore those. We look for the live questions, we try to
Right.
answer those. I've seen it, and I record the water and sewer ones, and I watch it live, and I watch the comments, and sometimes I'll say what the same person is thinking, because I'm thinking the exact same thing. Like, what's that? Well, can you explain a little more into it? So people, the little old lady who lives on 123 Happy Street, I'm stealing your street.
okay.
She can't make it down here because she can't drive. But she has questions, and they're legitimate questions about an ordinance, about a ruling, they can't hear it very well, and they can't make it down here. This is trying to make it work. The town, more people who can make it down
Yeah,
can.
Marcia Nato was always
Right.
like that.
You've got some people who they're at home with their kids. I don't want 10 kids sitting in this room with 2 parents and they're all bickering and nobody can hear what we're saying.
Right, okay, so.
And we
so
don't,
you-
just so
okay,
you understand, Scott,
Yeah,
this is a public meeting,
Yeah.
but it's not a meeting with the public. So we have no and as long as I've been here, we've always taken public comments. But we have no statutory response, and most, I think all of our boards do. But there's no statutory requirements that you take any public comments.
okay,
So
yeah,
with this,
that's true, and,
You know.
and that's kinda why I was thinking that it's a good idea to just smash it, cause then we still gotta consider that this is like the 5th or 6th, time that this has happened with the same individual
We can't
So
do
that
anything.
on
individual,
that same
Yeah, that's
planning
between you
board.
and her.
that individual.
No, she's a planning board member. She's
She's an
held
alternate.
to a higher standard than I am.
She's an alternate.
She's supposed to be.
She was an alternate that has been appointed. She hasn't been to the last 3 meetings, and from March,
She's running
that
for-
appointment could be gone.
She's
Yes,
running-
anybody can run in town. If they live in town,
And they
can
can
run for
act
any
like
position.
this while they're running?
Do you think they're gonna get voted for if they act like that?
Maybe.
We can't,
So
we
it's-
can't regulate.
We can't regulate voting and stuff like that. If people have,
Could you imagine the press
It's like
if
you
we tried
said.
to regulate that?
It's like you said, it's a moral standard. Me personally, when I first moved to town, I commented on a lot of posts. Now, if you look, I haven't commented. I'm not part of that same group. I saw the bickering back and forth, and I'm like, that's ridiculous. Me personally, I think it's ridiculous. And I see it all the time in Facebook groups. There's questions that legitimately people ask, and if it's something I think I have the answer, I'll do a quick answer, and then that's it. I've had people argue with my answer, and I'm like, okay, I just drop it there. It's like you said, it's moral. Morally, I don't feel a need to bicker back and forth with someone on Facebook. Someone can call me names. Guess what? Shit happens.
I hate
With that.
Facebook.
And somebody here knows personally because they've been there's a bunch of signs that were put up during the election last
Power
thing.
user.
that
He's still there.
oh yeah, I know they are still there. But as an elected official, we can't do a defamation of character against someone.
No,
As an
no, no.
elected
I
you
would-
can.
But
and
you
again,
can.
Oh
and
no, I did talk to talk to the local police, and while it is borderline, they did say to me that it would just end up being a really tough case.
Well,
And
there's
so-
other parts of what these comments are that you could bring up to other people who already have cases against said people. Which person? Sorry, thank you.
No, I know, and I kind of lost my train of thought, but the one more thing that I just kind of wanted to say is that I'm going to continue to hold myself to a higher standard. I'm not going to get caught up in this, and at the end of the day, I want to let Troy know that I'm not going to engage in this stuff anymore.
Good.
If you've done something like this, by God, come here and give Troy an apology because they deserve it. Thank you.
Yeah, it's like I
That's
said,
it.
you're holding yourself to the higher moral standard.
Absolutely. Thank
Which
you,
is,
guys.
you know, if you wanted to run for something, that's exactly what we would recommend. But we can't force
Well, we can
everybody.
recommend it.
No, I
I think
hear
it's a violation.
I hear you guys, and it's been a pleasure sitting here with you guys, honestly, you know. I know business is business sometimes, you know, at the end of the day.
another thing I wanna point out, that for the boards to take public comments, that's number 3 on our agenda out of 11. And it's actually more than 11 because there's a 6A, 6B, 7A,
Mhm.
4A, B, C, D, E, and F.
Mhm.
We're an hour and 40 minutes into our meeting, and we're on
Yeah.
number 3, public comments.
Yeah.
Well, and we had a non-public first, so normally
Yeah,
public comments would be the second thing.
I was gonna
yeah.
say
Yeah.
that.
And usually, you know, sometimes we have short public comments because nobody's here. No one really wants to talk to us on Facebook either. So we're like, okay, cool, we can just get through the business.
Mhm.
Sometimes we have long ones. Sometimes we have to shut people down because they're getting over the top and
Yeah, well, I get you guys,
But-
I don't
yeah.
wanna take up, I don't wanna take up any more of this meeting's time tonight, I just wanna let people know that I am gonna do that, and I highly recommend that anyone else has done that should do it, because it's just, I'm gonna tell you, I got a really good feeling I got like 35 responses to this thing, and they were all positive.
Good.
Yeah.
People have more sense than they get credit for sometimes.
Yep, thanks guys,
Thank you.
thank you.
absolutely.
Okay. I move that we approve the intent to cut on map 8 lot 1. John Leventine and Sonny Grimshaw is doing the logging.
Second?
All right. Any further discussion on that one?
No.
Looks like they're logging right away.
Ash and soft maple. And hemlock and white pine. February 13th.
Yeah, so they're going to be basically starting right away,
Mhm.
or already started. All right. You seconded Vickers?
Yes.
All right. No further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move that we approve the request for disbursement, number 7 under the CWSFR project CS number 330190-06. That, for those of you who don't know what that is, that's a disbursement for the Troy water and sewer treatment plant repairs.
And that's this amount?
In the amount of $22,713.80.
I'll second.
Alright, this was one you signed off on, Jeremy, so it's great for me. All those, any further discussion on that?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
One's me, one's you. I was like, I'm not fixing that.
I move that we approve the tax abatement for map 3 lot 1 for the Society for the Protection of New Hampshire Forests in the amount of $1,197 for the tax year 2024. They were incorrectly taxed. They are an exempt entity.
I'll second.
Alright, any further discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move that we approve the tax abatement in the amount of $206 for map 6 lot 15, Society for the Protection of New Hampshire Forests. Again, they are an exempt entity and they were overtaxed. They were taxed $206. They should not have been.
I'll second.
And let me correct that. $261.94.
We don't include the interest.
Is that?
260.
So it's just a 260.
We're gonna have to account for that someplace, but all right, if you're good with it, I'm good with it. 260.
Alright,
And in that motion, that we waive the, we'll make a third motion after that. We'll clarify that.
alright, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So then I further move that we waive the interest in the amount of $8.92 on the unpaid taxes on map 3 lot 1 and the $1.94 in interest on map 6 lot 15.
I'll second.
Alright, any further discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move that we approve and instruct the tax collector to collect $5,705 with interest at 8%. On the property at map 18, lot 157, number 3, and that is the Immaculate Conception Church on School Street.
I'll second it.
Further discussion?
Yeah, we need to make sure that, Monique or whoever does this gets this changed in the system so it doesn't keep coming up, that they're exempt.
Is that why we're doing this?
That's, yeah, it keeps showing up in the, so it doesn't print a bill.
We addressed it last year and I think it just fell through the cracks between.
When they converted the system over?
Well, they finally got the proof saying basically that they're gonna pay it, because they didn't.
But because it says in the system that they're
It's
exempt,
exempt because it's
it
a church.
doesn't print off a bill,
Right,
so we just gotta make sure
that's why
that,
she
I
missed the
think it's
bill.
Monique or
They
whoever.
probably know they owe, because I think I sent them a letter after the decision. Obviously not gonna pay a bill they don't receive.
Yes.
Right.
I don't blame them. But it's gonna come eventually.
I don't know I had a bill. But yes, I agree, we should do that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You seconded that?
Yeah.
How does this come up here? Glad somebody brought it up.
I questioned it. There was a couple of properties that were in
Okay.
town that I asked about.
Okay, sewage.
Oh, this is, okay, so on this one, Mark asked us to approve the forest wardens.
Yeah.
So every year we have to do this?
Yes.
We have to agree to the wardens. They
We
have
have a
put down.
list. I'm looking
Yes,
for-
last page.
Last page.
Oh. Is that the checked boxes?
Yes, that's basically saying that they're participated in the training.
Alright, I move that we approve or appoint Robert Crowell, Nicholas Huntoon, Ryan Huntoon, Scott Meter, and Mark Huntoon as forest wardens.
I'll second.
Alright, any further discussion on that one?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Jeremy, once we get that signed, if you can mail it off to that front envelope. You find it?
Yeah.
We'll have to use an envelope.
It's in there though, right?
I think so.
Okay, yeah.
I'll check it.
I move that we approve the permit to remove the storage trailers on map,
20 lot 26.
what line?
Map 20 lot 26.
Oh yeah, map lot 26.
So, I'll second it.
Alright, discussion.
He came in earlier, he just wanna make sure that I brought it up to you guys, that he's doing this, but he's gonna be slowed down because of the snow.
Everybody else in New Hampshire is, I don't know why he should be exempt.
Right, so.
Alright, well, he's gotta start someplace.
Has he been communicating with you? Cause that was the other
I
stipulation.
didn't hear anything until today.
Well, that's, he
He even said that-
Okay.
keep the pedal to the metal.
So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
And
move-
the envelope's not in there.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Right.
it's on
I
there.
move that we approve the payroll for payroll check dated 2/14 of 25, and $20,913.94. Payroll for the paychecks dated 2/24/25, and $22,202.91. And that we approve the accounts payable for the check run on 2/12/25, and $238,089.43, which includes $216,743.08 to the regional school district. For the check run, a single check on February 14th in the amount of $200. And then on February 19th, $46,377.45.
I'll second.
Alright, all those in, or any further discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move that we approve the public meeting minutes from the Tuesday, February 11th, 2025 Selectmen's meeting at the Samuel E. Paul Center, which was a joint meeting with the Budget Committee as submitted.
I'll second.
Alright, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
I move that we approve the non-public minutes for February 11th, 2025 at the Samuel E. Paul Center as submitted.
I'll second.
Alright, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so took care of new business, any old business, Jeremy? Alright, we did consent to agenda.
Well, we skipped over, you still have one more thing here.
Right, we had the board member correspondence.
Yeah, you got it.
So that's a letter from our assessor regarding the land use change taxes, which unfortunately a lot of the ones that were lingering are past the window to do that, which I assume she probably inherited that from previous assessor.
We did get another one, Jeremy and I did today. Jeremy, I don't know if you saw it. It is from,
These are all pieces of land taken out of current use.
Yeah,
And we didn't collect the taxes on them?
trying to see.
Well, we have time to collect them. 23 maybe then.
Well, one of them being on here.
Still
is
need to
from
be billed
2020.
research fees, special fees.
I don't know if I don't think
They're
I'm
getting
seeing.
billed for these aren't that old.
I don't know what the window is, but she seems to think that there's a window and we missed some.
I think we did miss some of them, but I think some of these other ones we can
Well,
still.
we, it's up to us. I mean, how did they pull them out of current use without coming to us?
Well, they might have, and maybe the previous assessor never did anything with it. I don't know.
They came, I don't recall that many people pulling stuff out of current use since I've been here. Yeah,
One of these is
you got four properties taken out of current use with four owners, multiple lots. You have 1, 2, 3, 4,
Some of
5,
One of these
6.
is from
Some of them
2016.
owe zero, but some of them owe like $500, and the recommendation is to collect it.
You got $8,000 due on map 29, lot 1.
The ones that she's saying are zeros because we missed the window, right?
Okay, you got all of these. We should be. I mean, there's 9,500, 23,000.
Wow.
I think we should go after the ones that we can,
And then check on the
Yeah.
ones.
and then the old ones, I mean, the old ones we can't go
It's
after, but
probably.
You have, based on her letter dated February 12th, you've got 7,600 plus
1,500,
1,500, that's 9,100.
$500, a
500, now you're at 9,600.
$8,000.
Then you got two at 8,000. You're pushing $30,000.
Yeah, I would go after anything we can go after.
I mean, I don't know when these people pulled it out of current use, but
I don't know what the process would have been normally.
they have to come in here and apply for an application to take it out of current use.
So that should happen either way, it's just a matter of what did the previous assessor do then, I guess, after that.
No, what I'm telling you, Jeremy, is I've been here for 8 years. I don't think we've had 4 people come in and say, I want to take my property out of current use.
Right.
You can go build just because you go and build a house on it doesn't mean that you took it out of current use.
And have the tax collector make sure, verify that the luck was not previously issued.
Have it verified what?
The luck was not previously issued.
I researched for these parcels to the best of my abilities on the data on the file. I then requested the tax collector to verify a lot was not previously issued. Please keep in mind that the property owners may decide to file an abatement, especially with the ones with prior to our contract. If they choose to file an abatement, I will research and request additional information as needed for each release as formed. So yeah, I go after the ones that we have that says that we should be going after.
Yeah, those.
And the ones that are zero, don't worry about, because we missed the time on those.
Well, we should send you need to get whatever we need to do one of those things like we just did on the church.
Right.
And that needs to go out like too sweet.
Yeah, so like on this first one, she explains it's past the time, so we can't collect that. So that's why it's a 0. There are quite a few zeros in here, but like Dick said, $30,000. That's tax money.
Yeah, for the ones that she gave them out for, I just want to make sure the board's good with going forward with it.
And I'd like
100%.
I know you have plenty to do, but I wish you'd look and see when these, maybe you could have Amanda to do it or somebody look in these files of where the hell's the land use change for.
Right. Did you ever get one?
The last one I remember having anything to do with the current use change in this town was when Sam Bradley filed a complaint for Dr. Cook because he said he was he had over 10 acres and he should be in current use. And the selectmen waived the current use penalty, the land use change tax, because he was building that big building. And we
What
said,
year was that?
oh, that's at least 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah.
1920?
Right, like, and he had done it before that, he was mad because of the tax bill.
Alright, yeah, so I'll check into these and follow up.
So we did get another email this afternoon, or was it morning? No, it was afternoon, from, I'm gonna butcher his name, Gerardo Milon Ramos from New Hampshire, what is his name? Yes, the EPA. He's our region, local one. He's gonna be in our area for an inspection.
And I
I would
forwarded
like
that too.
Of
you
what?
and me, the Superfund site, with something we have to walk within.
I forwarded you the email earlier.
The 200 acres down
I don't
on,
think we have to, but they invited us.
Yeah, it's a recommendation that we go. Mary and myself did it the last time. We just walked it, just showed us the
okay.
thing, and that's it.
okay,
It's not like they're trying to force us to take it. They're just, it's their routine inspection they have to do.
oh, okay.
And they
do that
want-
report again, right?
They want like him and one of us to be there. If I'm still a selectman at the time, I will go. If I'm not, then one of you two or the new person can go.
We could send the new guy.
Yep. But it is on March 31st between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. So
Okay, good to know.
Should
it's
be a great time.
it's actually not bad. It's a nice area when you look at it. If you don't look
That could
down,
make a lovely park.
just don't look down.
Well, they called me the day before they
Don't
released it.
dig down.
That
They
too.
called me the day before they released their press release, so I wasn't surprised. I'm like, thank you. It was nice though.
Yeah, I saw that and I come through. I'm like, oh, that's a big one to have too.
So I had a question, how does that happen? Cause I see you kind of, you know, I know you know a lot of things, and if you're thinking back to 5-6 years ago, and you're kind of dumbfounded.
I'm dumbfounded.
thinking,
That's it,
wow.
man. I can't even begin to imagine how we missed whatever that is, like 12 properties being pulled out of current use.
You know, we found quite a few things in assessing that has been messed with.
Sometimes
They
we
had to
wonder-
come here, but you have to come to the selectmen and say,
You're
I'm
supposed
taking
to,
it out of
doesn't mean
current
they
use.
do.
I was gonna say, I think sometimes they were just emailing directly to the assessor at
And if
the
they
time.
change it in the system, it just
Oh, yes,
But
that,
technically, if you install a new light pole in the town, whether it's private or not, you should get a pole license from the board too, and that doesn't get done.
Correct.
Chrissy got one day and I looked into it and I was like, we're all.
Chrissy got a bowl license? Did
You
Curtis
guys
know about
approved
that?
it. You guys approved it.
Glitches in the system, huh?
It happens.
So I
yes.
asked Eversource for a list of all the poles in town, and I don't need to know who owns what, but they told me I wasn't allowed to
Authorized.
get a list of all of them if they're private. I'm like, I'm not asking for a social security number, but.
Just ones that you have to ask, the ones the town has to pay for.
Yeah, but I wanted to know which ones, how many have been coming in that are private that we're supposed to be getting a license form for that we're not getting, just out of curiosity.
So a caveat off of Scott's comments about the glitches in the system. So when you have residents or volunteers sitting on these boards for long periods of time, it's a good thing, in my opinion, because you can find out like why back in 2008 did the planning board vote to do
Right.
this. None of us that are currently on the planning board know any of that question back then or why they did something for a current ordinance. Same as the selectmen. I've been here for 8 years
Yeah.
now. I got one more year left. So I got a lot of knowledge from stuff that happened back for the last 8
I think
years.
you've been here longer than that, Curtis.
No, this is my third term, so.
You're ending your third term, and I'm beginning my third term.
Right.
Okay. Yeah,
So-
because you're here.
So even with Dick being on as a selectman, he knows the history of everything that we've done and we can remember back. It's like, okay, yeah, but it's also trial and error on some of the stuff that we're not gonna know every law, every ordinance in town. So this right now is probably the most knowledgeable board you've had in a while.
Yeah.
And you pray when you look for the file, it's there.
Right, and there's been a lot of stuff that's been fixed since, I know when I became a selectman in 2017,
Oh, my.
such as our filing system, personnel,
Yeah.
a lot of things are a lot better.
We're not,
No.
we're not 100%,
We're not perfect.
but we've made dramatic, you weren't around for 6 years ago, or you weren't in here,
Right.
and there's a world of difference.
The old treasurer Janet, who just passed away, like she was the one you could call if you needed to know
Right,
anything.
Janet,
for the last
Janet knew
50
everything.
years.
Yeah. The,
Well, like the inspector, building inspector, that's all. That's a good thing, right?
That's all we need to do.
yeah, and we've handled that.
Well, that's got a whole history behind it too.
Sure does.
Nice.
The other towns have told me that I make them feel better about their own towns when and I didn't even, there's nothing crazy going on right now anyway. I said, that's good, I'm glad you make me feel better too.
Mm.
Every town does.
Yeah, they don't admit.
No, I call it every town has its warrants.
Well, the difference is here, we put everything online. The planning board meeting, the ZBA meetings, the water and sewer, we literally air our dirty laundry. And so the traditional complaint was that you guys hide everything. Well, everybody does. And, you go into the bigger town, over in the house on Tuesday, we had a hearing on a bill, and it basically turned into a Durham planning board meeting.
Yeah, you had the entire town.
Yes, we had
They're very proactive on.
well, we had the
Supporting
students,
us.
we had the students there, because there's a law being changed regarding group housing, and what constitutes group housing, it was holy mother of God. They're trying to change their ordinance, they want the state to change its law to match their law, they don't like the changes that are being proposed, and it's like,
I see the emails, Durham definitely keeps a close eye on. Well, plus the administrator's wife is a director.
and one of the, not selectmen, but town,
Oh, they're rep too.
Howland, yeah. Good guy, Walshy bit Walshy, but.
All
The
right.
administrator there is a 9-year contract and has sabbatical.
Yeah, we don't offer that, but nice of you to mention it.
We talked about that today at lunch, I was like, yeah,
Right.
I said nobody's ever gonna get a contract like him again. Sabbatical, it was crazy.
Alright, so on to administrative report. Anything from your side that we need to address or need?
Just what I mentioned to you guys via text, that the warrant is through and posted and blessed, and the budget as well.
When are you gonna have those town reports
The only
back?
thing I'm waiting on for the budget is the budget committee to sign off on the fancy cover page.
Oh.
Just a formality, but, so the town report I also submitted yesterday, I felt like 1,000 pounds came off my back. We got a proof today that I printed that we're all gonna pass around and pack up. I'm hoping that it's much closer to the finish line than last year when I was rushing it. So my goal is tomorrow to send in the final edits to the printer, and then they'll send us another proof, and then from there it'll go to the printer. I did offer, if they can't make the deadline of the week before, to get all the reports delivered, I offered to go there and grab a partial run. I don't know if they're even willing to do a partial run, but we had a handful of folks last year that wanted that hard copy in hand in between before town voting day. But because last year we had the PDF electronic version and a printed copy here, which depending on how you read the RSA's, it satisfies the law. But there's old school people that wanted it, so if I can't get a partial run and we can't do all of it before then, we will.
Well, what did the printer say?
They didn't really answer that question.
Oh.
They really wanted it last Friday.
And you still haven't gotten it to them?
No, I mean I sent the file yesterday.
I thought
We got
you said you
proof
were waiting for
today.
the budget committee. Oh, okay. How'd it look?
I actually haven't even had a chance to look at it yet, but
I started looking through it earlier today.
Chrissy's gonna look at it and Amanda and then pass it around and
It looks pretty good.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen any mistakes yet, so that's
It's good, damn right.
well, like you said last year, we're gonna print it and we're gonna find something, but
That's always how it is.
Always do.
I put a lot more effort in this year's in making sure.
How did we miss that?
Go look through normal books. I mean, I find mistakes,
Yes,
spelling
me too.
mistakes in
Yep.
books, and I'm like, and you know, some publishers, if you point that out, they'll give you a free book.
But this year, like I thought, I
Yeah.
had like I'm gonna start early and be proactive and stuff, and I thought I was for a while. And then last weekend hit, and I was like, shit, I could get the budget done, posted and everything, because we don't want to deal with that again. Reports. And then town meeting will happen, and everything will be quiet, right?
Sure.
Maybe. Except for Facebook.
Till next year, right?
No, but things quiet down.
Well, this is a tough season, Don.
A lot of stuff on our
People
plate.
get-
You know?
Yeah.
New president, new board members all over the place,
We'll have-
new everything.
hopefully
President,
hopefully
governor,
hopefully someday spring will come up.
representatives,
The governor's very nice.
some cases new representatives.
Well, somebody that's on the executive council made a boo-boo driving their car around and stuff.
Oh, I saw that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The single digits, I'm assuming, from what I read, was the executive council.
I saw that.
But that's been the whole talk. I'm in the horrible drivers of New Hampshire group, which is kind of complicated. The whole talk all week is nobody clears off their windshields.
Oh, there are
Oh,
there.
it's bad, yeah.
I believe Jaffrey ticketed people.
Good. People are
Wrench,
posting
I believe,
stats.
ticketed people.
Keen
Troy did.
Troy did, Keene did. In Manchester, or on the way to Manchester, I think it was in Milford, someone's windshield actually got shattered by
Yep.
a piece
I
of ice
saw
that
that.
flew off. I was like,
Well, I think they originally did the bill because of real bad or something.
yes.
Jessica.
It's that typical tumbles right through the air and boom.
But like if you're driving a company vehicle or anything that can distinguish who you are, it's like, dude, you gotta think about that before you.
Yeah.
Anywho, but yeah, I think that's all I have for my report.
All right. Our next meeting is March 6th, right before the elections. Again, just to reiterate, next week is the candidates forum. Jeremy will run that by Kyle, see if he wants to run it,
I'd call everybody.
and call everybody. He's going unopposed, right? In his
The
position?
moderator, yeah.
Okay.
What time is that?
6:30.
6:30.
6:30?
Down at the rec. We will live stream it like always. I'll see if Bob has an exchange cord that'll reach out to we can get the camera in the middle and then,
Yeah, that's what we did for budget.
yeah.
Yeah, Jeremy, if Kyle doesn't feel up to it, I'll run it. That's fine.
Meeting schedule wise, Dick, are you okay, or is your house schedule crazy, or what do you want to do?
For 6.
Is 5 still good, or you want to bump to 6, or what?
Oh,
Or is it? depend
so
on
the 6th is a session day. God, they talked about that at the end of the day.
You can just let me know.
Well, I think if we could make it 6, then
Okay.
I don't think they're gonna go much past 4:30. Today they were actually out.
Yeah, because Mike told me you were down on Memorial, so I was like, oh, you must have gone early.
Yeah, well, I thought.
You don't know going into the day, right? You don't know what's gonna happen.
Well, what happened was they had a 6-page docket, and last week we had a 3-page docket, and we got out at 4:30. And I looked at this 6-page docket today, and
I'll never get out.
we'll get out of here at midnight. We're done at 3:30.
Alright. That's a lot of papers. Do we wanna discuss this one in public?
That
The right to know request?
well, it's a right to know.
Public's not a, no public.
So we have a right to know request, and we're gonna try and fulfill it.
Yep, we're gonna try and fulfill it, it's
Some
actually,
of the documents don't exist, so.
some of it does not exist, so I will let you know what does, and I will give you the list, screenshots of who's in what and such like that I have.
I don't think there's a lot of emails or any records, because whatever we've done's been, even if it's a non-public, through the minutes, because we don't seal minutes very often.
Yeah, you should go through the minutes, because he asked when his name was mentioned. So if there's something in the minutes,
You just said in emails, any email pertaining to my name from any selectman. So do a search for your email, type in his name, anything that pops up.
But yeah, I don't think there's gonna be a lot of it.
That happens.
But yeah, if you give me the camera stuff.
Yeah, I'll give you the information, I'll give you a screenshot so you can print it and give it to them. It's, I mean, there are no logs, can't tell who's logged in and what camera. Unfortunately, it's not that advanced of a system, all it says is,
I got no results for that.
oh, you should type in his name. I did the same thing and I didn't have anything on either of my email, so it is what it is. And I'll give you the users, the list of users who've been in the 10 months and the ones who've been removed from the thing. You will see that on the screenshot there is one person's name who you wouldn't think has access to cameras, but it's because all the cameras are in the town's account, so the 5 that are down at the transfer station, thank you. He still has access. I was gonna talk with the board about, cause he would like to keep access to it, so when he goes for plowing, he knows how much snow's down there. Cause
Do you both have it or no?
yeah, you can have it.
Oh,
I can give it to you.
okay. I'm not gonna sit there and watch it. You
I
can-
know, only time I
Does it
open it,
restrict what cameras?
yes,
But it makes sense that if he wants.
I just share whichever cameras we want. It's just like when Chrissy asked, she didn't want the Selectmen ones, and we approved her to have all the other ones, so she's got the 4.
right?
Actually, she doesn't. She got a new phone, so she knows
She's
that.
gonna log with her email.
I don't think she remembers that one.
Well, she'll have to give me a new email then.
Do you,
Unless I pass on to Sarah. Cause she's doing my tabs on it.
who's got the dump? Should I ask that? Oh, how's the hours of the Tuesday, Friday, Saturday week? Still doing Tuesday afternoons?
Yeah, they're closing at 5 instead of 6.
Okay.
Yeah, we approved that because nobody was showing up that last hour.
Yeah,
And it's dark and.
it'll change when the weather gets better.
Well, it's getting,
Yeah, when we get
it's
spring,
getting later
it'll
longer.
still be
Oh, yeah.
But like right now, they asked, this me and you who they asked if they could close it down early.
Yeah.
Everyone, and I was like, originally I was like, run it by who you're supposed to, and then if they say yes, we'll say yes. As long as it gets ran and done right. I know one of the balers was down, it should have been up
Tomorrow.
for fixing.
Yeah,
Okay.
tomorrow.
Then tomorrow will be up. There was a complaint from the water and sewer department about the transfer station. They're dropping off barrels there.
That wasn't from them, it's about them.
Who's dropping
The
off what?
complaint was about the water and sewer dropping off the barrels of chemicals.
It was the water and sewer complaining to me about it.
Oh,
I told them I'll bring it up. It's basically, they have barrels that they're dropping off down there that they are legally allowed to recycle, but they cannot give them out to people and they don't want them given out because they have like
yeah, Courtney said.
Chlorine in it or whatever?
chlorine, heavy metals, aluminum, something or another.
And Courtney said do not hand them out whatsoever.
Yeah, so they're supposed to, I told the water and sewer department to cut them up before they bring them down there, so there's not a chance of giving them out.
Right, that makes the most sense.
So they're gonna cut them in half somehow, I don't know which way.
Yeah, Sawzall.
Yeah, because they have saws, I was gonna say, I know the transfer station would do
Those
it.
blue, heavy, like 55-gallon barrels, it's
Yeah.
like a big beer barrel.
So, with that being said then, we approved that office work or office materials can only get dropped off at the like shredded paper or anything like
Right.
regular garbage.
Yep.
That's not office stuff, are they getting charged a bill for dropping off those, cause that's gonna go in the
They're
construction
recyclable.
dump?
No, they're recyclable.
And we're not paying to dispose.
The plastic's recyclable,
They're actually
so we don't charge for that.
Yeah, we just
plastic,
think
so they're like milk jugs.
if we had a disposal
plastic.
fee, we pass that.
So, okay, so as long as there's no disposal fee then.
Yeah, no disposal, this is recyclable. That's what I originally told them too, is if it's a recyclable product, I have no problem with them bringing it, and it is a recyclable product.
Okay, even with the chemicals being, okay.
Cause that's why they can't give them away, cause what they
Right.
do is they burn they burn it and melt it and gets rid of the chemicals when they go to
That sounds so
recycle
unlikely.
it.
Right, that's the recycler's problem, but
Yeah.
they accept them, the issue is, does the recycler accept them as is? The answer is yes, so therefore we just cut them in half so they don't get used.
And then they throw them in the baler, and the baler crushes them all down into a nice pretty cube, and we get cube weight.
We're all happy.
Yeah.
Happy.
And I do have a thing I'd like to bring up to the board.
And public or non-public?
Public, this
Okay.
is public. So, I became acutely aware of, of the opportunity for the town to collect what are called impact fees.
Right.
It actually came up, Chad Brandon brought it up the first time he was in meeting with the planning board. He said, well, impact fees are very common, and I have no problem with those if that was to be charged. And so then I had quickly drafted a warrant article, which was too late to make the warrant, and it turns out in discussions with Carol Ogilvy, you can't just charge an impact fee. You can't wake up one day and say, well, we're gonna charge an impact fee for every new water and sewer tap in Troy, and it's gonna be $500 or whatever. And only certain things can be charged as impact fees, and there's a process that has to happen between the planning board and the select board and any commission that wants to charge that. So I think that it would be a good idea for Troy to consider charging impact fees for new builds, renovations, and additional units. And the idea actually has to originate here. And then we would have to talk to the planning board and Carol, because there's rules that determine how the fees can be set. Because it's one of those things where it says you can charge for X, but you can't charge for X and Y and Z. So you can't, and the amount of an impact fee has to be tied back into very specific things under the law. I think Jeremy already knows some of this.
Where does that money go?
In the general fund.
In general.
Some people do it for like schools or whatever.
Well, and that's the point. So if you're gonna, let's say, there's two things. So you're gonna build 5 new houses up at the end of Memorial Drive. That's what the Fieldstone proposal is. That's what they're gonna ask for permits for. There's gonna be, it's not just schools, and they're gonna pay for their own water and sewer, but for every unit of housing that occurs, there's that much more strain on the ambulance service. There's that much more strain on the police department. That's more strain on the fire department. So, I mean, my own thoughts were we would pay it into the capital reserve fund. So let's say you bought a 2-unit apartment building on Central Square, and it's the 2 units are crazy big, and you want to make it a 4-unit. And so if you were to do that, you'd have a 4-unit. We'd be creating 2 new units. So you'd have an impact fee for those 2 new units. Does that make some sense?
Yeah.
So I really think we need to consider that. It's not what we've ever done here, but the world is changing, and I also think that you're going to find a lot of the pressure on this side of the state from the other side of the state, which, you know, we live over here, we don't notice it, and then all of a sudden these people have arrived. There's a lot of pressure to build over here. Which is, the elderly lady that was in the audience the other night insisted that there's millions of houses for sale in Troy. Well, there's not.
No.
There's, I believe, 2.
You would know, right?
Well, yeah, it's not that hard for me to find. It changes every day, but, and the price of houses in Troy is what a house that literally would have been $125,000 4 years ago is $500,000. So, you know, those houses up on Memorial Drive, it is certainly within my memory that they were $85,000. And you see, we just lowered her assessment to $270 market, and that's probably right. So the point is, I'm not quite clear on what the process is for doing impact fees. It is it's a very involved process, but I would ask that if the board's in agreement, we ask Jeremy to pursue that, either through NHMA and or Carol. NHMA for a little guidance, and Carol for, all right, now we want to do it. I think that is really important for the future, the financial future of Troy.
Yeah, because if these people are building houses and subdividing, common knowledge would be that they're probably gonna make quite a bit of money from that, so, and if they're gonna be a strain on the town.
Well, I don't know if I want to say strain, but ultimately there's an additional burden, and you're shifting it back. There is a shock value to everything new that happens. So, and I don't think an impact fee is unreasonable.
No, and I don't know how common, I mean, they're pretty common, I don't know what the breakdown is.
I got that.
Who has them and who doesn't, but
Yeah.
this is,
Well, I think you're going to find Londonderry does.
oh yeah, a lot of times.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea.
My first town had them, they'd already been in place, so I don't know, I didn't have to go through the process of helping them set them up.
Yeah, and you know, when 40 years ago, when I was building houses in Maryland, 40 years ago, can you believe that? Everybody had a front foot, what they call a front foot benefit charge, which was essentially an impact fee. And the county charged you, if you had 100, it was so many dollars, like $5 a foot. So you had 100 foot lot, you paid $500. You had a 200 feet of frontage on the street, you paid $100, and so forth. So, but that's how they did it in Maryland 40 years ago. And Virginia had a different scheme. Virginia was $2,500 per unit. So, and apparently New Hampshire has rules governing how they would be charged here. I just think we need to know what those rules are and see if it's something we think we could and should implement. Because arbitrarily picking a number and saying we're now charging this for each new water or sewer or building permit is apparently illegal in New Hampshire.
I don't know if that's what a town meeting or not.
It does.
It does, so we're talking
So it's next year, but if
every
we,
year to figure it out.
Yeah.
if we do it all, work the kinks out,
here.
looking at
Yeah,
it, getting.
yeah,
all
when
the
you first said it, it
information.
was a good idea, but I knew that there had to be some sort of.
Well, it seemed too easy.
Right.
Right. And I said, well, I'm writing it up, we'll see. So that was that. I do have an issue I'd like to bring up under non-public if we're done with the public.
So I sent in, I put it in your binders, but they are doing the grant writing course again at the county. I'll email it out to the other departments. I know the PD was originally going and library's going, and then they bailed.
Pete went,
Through all of it,
one of them went for the whole thing. It
How
was
much
supposed to
does
be
it
two.
cost? How much does it cost?
it's free,
Oh, it's free?
but it's last time it was every Friday for 6 straight weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's every Tuesday. So I really want to do it. It's like a big commitment being 6 weeks in a row, but.
I think you should do it, Jeremy. I think it's really a key part of your position. I guess I should also tell you that the county budget went up 6.8%.
I was gonna say, I know inflation went up 3% according to the information that's put out there from January.
Yeah.
Just January alone was
And then
3%.
how do they determine how much percent of that is us?
Same way, it's a weighted average based on your assessed value. So if you take the whole pie of assessments in the county,
Right.
and then you take whatever Troy is, the total assessments in Troy, and whatever percentage that is of the whole.
Because like last year maybe more our county, the amount we pay the county's gone down, but their actual budget didn't go down, it's just our portion.
Our portion went down because our relative position, relative to the static state assessments, which are always gonna be, somebody's always gonna be out of whack. The only place in the county that maintains a full-time assessing department is the city of Keene.
Surprise.
And so they're always at or nearly at 100% of fair market value. Versus the other 26 towns, we just meet the minimum statutory requirement for reassessments every 5 years.
Yep, which is why we
So,
had ours.
Today at lunch, multiple other towns were saying they're doing revals, and then within a year or two, they're already down to like 80 and sometimes 50%.
Sure, sure.
We can do staggered, where you do a certain portion each year, but.
It depends upon the size of the town. A town this size, it's not.
Right, yeah.
You know, and that's how the city of Keene does it.
But Crazy Market doesn't help that either, you know.
No, well, the city of Keene does it by
They probably have multiple people in their assessing department.
the budget for the city of Keene's assessment department is larger than the budget for the town of Troy.
I wouldn't have guessed it was that high,
Yeah.
but. Okay, so yeah, I'll send that out, and I do wanna take it. The other thing you just were poking at is,
Just on that, the city of Keene takes in more in parking tickets than the town of Troy's budget.
not surprised.
The really thick one?
Yeah, so during the budget process, it come up a couple times, and Ben and Dick had talked about how healthcare is just ridiculous, and that never goes down, or whatever, but, so, my first town before I left, they switched over to, it's a section of the tax code that allows the town to partially fund.
HSAs.
Yeah, similar. Basically, the whole premise of it, and we can talk about it in a later meeting, but I just wanted to let you know what you're looking at, or just look forward to that reading. But basically, the idea is you switch from now where you have plans that, let's face it, 80% of the people probably don't even come close to using the actual
Right.
value of it. And you switch from that to a low premium, high deductible plan with the idea that usually the way the math works out is that even if, and this would never happen, that every single person on the town's plan, employees and family, max out their deductible, and we paid it all out. Sometimes the math works out where you still save money.
Right.
It's crazy.
I was gonna say, we don't offer, for town employees, clearly, we haven't really done deep dive in this. We don't offer two separate plans, one high, one low.
No.
Just one plan.
The operation, it's been on autopilot. This has been something,
Well, Mary looked into it, because I saw the stuff, but it's a jump.
yeah, and so,
But really what you have is like 2 or 3 major players in the state.
right,
And every school district, every town, no questions asked, this is what we're
Yeah.
gonna pay. And you're paying a lot of money.
well, and so this goes back to redesigning the fundamental part of the plan.
So the idea with that is that, yeah, you'd have a high deductible, but the town would actually be partially or fully funding those bills when they actually come in.
Right, and we would, so you go with a high deductible plan, and you also fund an HSA. And that HSA money you have a lot of potential uses for that because it can accumulate and be substantial. And where you have younger workers, you may not go to the doctor every 3 weeks. You know,
Primary care, what's that?
and you may.
What's primary care?
Well, I know for like me, I never go to the doctor unless I'm hurt.
I don't have a primary care anymore.
Right.
The glare.
Which is problematic at times when you put notes, but I use doctors, but it's not that hard.
Yeah, for like me, I always go with the high, because my company offers 3 different plans.
Yeah.
And high, low, and then
To give you a buyout if you're.
Like we're, right
I
now,
think
HMO or something.
yeah, like an HMO. but there's
right now, a family plan under Health Trust is like almost, it's like 3,500 or more.
Well, there's a chance
And you
that
can't tell me that every family that's on there is using $3,500 worth of
They're not.
every month.
because then on top of that, it'll lower your guys' contribution as well.
Yeah, the idea would be that if you lower it enough that the employee no longer has to pay 15% of all of it. So my first town, we converted over before I left, and then I heard things didn't go well, but I think the issue was that they weren't properly refunding the employees as they paid their bills, which is a clerical administration issue. There's a bunch of examples of mostly private companies or whatever, but I mean the math. At first when I heard about this, I'm like, no way, like it's too good to be true or whatever.
I'm shocked more places don't.
But the municipalities and stuff, they just don't. there's
Taxpayers'
tunnel
money.
vision. Yeah, with health
Well,
trust,
in
once in a while,
school, in
we
school
get a,
districts, we tried to sort it out at the school district, and it was, oh my god.
they got unions to deal with too.
Well, it's kind of what the school district budget this year, that's what people are complaining about. $900,000
Think of how much money they, in
for
healthcare,
healthcare.
do you know what the school district has for health insurance? It's probably
Not
either,
anymore.
it's probably either health trust or school care, there's like 3 options.
I don't know, but it's,
Health trust.
So Mary had looked into jumping and whatever, and what I found talking to other communities is that, yeah, you might save a few grand this year, but next year your savings gone, you change everything, everyone gets, you know.
Well, that's where you need to restructure.
But I'd be curious how much money the school district is paying under whatever plan for
It's,
premiums that aren't really being used, you know?
well, it's similar to what you're looking at here, probably.
Right, but they're way bigger
I give
scale.
another 10% up.
So, at some point we can.
And the employees contribute less than you do.
At some point, we can look at that, because I think it's gonna take planning, at least in terms of the administration of the
some people
plan.
free.
And then part of the idea is that you partner your regular insurance with like Aflac supplemental benefits, which we already have anyway, or whatever, and kind of make it a better looking package for.
Did we do that? Did you guys?
We do have Aflac now, yeah.
Yeah.
That was right.
Aflac.
Yeah, it was a
It's
while.
like a major accident,
Right,
whatever,
right,
it supplements your.
Yeah,
It was discussed about.
yeah, I've known people get paid out on it. Works. So I do have a non-public.
Under
I'm good.
You guys ready?
91 A2B, competent hiring and hiring of a public employee.
I'll second.
roll call vote. Curtis,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
TJ, yes.